welcome to Scale Car Garage. Well, we're getting close. Real close. I mean, close. But why don't I just stop yakking and let's just keep going on the Porsche 356A Speedster here at Scale Car Garage. We're back here with the body and we're starting to assemble. And I'm really looking forward to this part. So we're going to start off with, well, actually, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're actually following the instruction sheet because it really does tell you how to assemble the car. And the first thing to be assembled here, excuse me, glasses time, is the dashboard. The front face has to go into the dashboard, then the dashboard has to be attached to the top of the body, and we'll let that set. And according to our plans, once that is done, then the interior of the front trunk has to be glued with the front trunk itself in place so that it will work. And we'll hold that, make sure that's cured. And then the interior goes in with the rear covering for the rear engine, so that can work. And when that is in, then we actually put in, according to this, the carrier for the motor, for the rear motor, the rear engine, and that actually slides in. Shouldn't be too bad actually. Oh, okay. I see how that moves. Ooh, dear, that's going to be. You know, we might no. Yeah, we'll have to put it in last because that's that'll get in the way of. Okay, boy, we're going to have to be careful. Alrighty, and in that vein, I think what we're going to do is we're going to move the parts that we aren't going to be gluing off the workbench, just to be safe, because we worked quite hard on this car. So let's get to work. So we're going to use our styrene solvent and a Q-tip. Keep that there. And let's do the driver's side first, very carefully now. That's all we need is to touch it. That's all you need. That should do it. Another dip. And that's it. All right, so there is the dashboard. Here we go. I think that looks very good. And we're going to let that cure over here. Let's save our Q-tip and close up our styrene solvent. So we have more Q-tips. Now we're going to have to put the dashboard on the body, and if you can see, we've of course painted the body. So we're going to have to remove some paint from right here, and we're going to do that very carefully. Now when you're removing paint, especially lacquer or enamel, score an area first so that it doesn't chip off where you don't want the paint to chip off. So very gently score. And again, I'm going to be using my magnifying glass here. And then you can scrape, and you see how when you do scrape, the paint will not scrape, hopefully, as long as you're careful, beyond where you've made that initial score. There we go, and there we go. So now we've got a nice piece of plastic here without any paint. that our part should adhere to. And pardon me, I'm going to give it a little blow. There we go. And you can see that now we have an area of clean plastic where our dashboard is going to go. So I think it's time to remove this piece of wood because it's going to get in the way. It's done its job. Very, very pleased. There we go. There we go. And we want to put the screw back in though. Just remember which side the screw came from. Very gently. Go. Okay. Let's put this screw back in, like so. Go. And we can take this screw out here. It's back in like so. We're going to test fit our dashboard here, and you can see there are two pins in the top of the dashboard cover, and those two pins go into those two holes. So let's just test it. See if that fits. Okay. And look at how lovely that fits in. It's beautiful. And you can see the pins right here. So, and we are going to be very careful with our solvent. It's upside down. The part is in place, and we're going to put solvent just on the two pins. Just on those two pins. All right. Be very careful now. There. And there. I don't think we got enough. Oh, this is too fine. Let's try our normal Q-tip, shall we? That is very, very fine. My goodness. There we go. Lovely. And we have dashboard. There we go. Take that off. You can see how the black plastic has been fused to the body. Lovely. So let's let that cure a wee bit. It doesn't really take long for it to cure. There we have the dashboard glued in place. And you can see how the pins underneath have been fused to the body. Here we go. So let's just let that cure then. The parts we are going to need are the front trunk itself, the interior of the front trunk, which will hold the hinges. You can see that's where it goes about there. You can see that. So, sorry about that. You can see how that is going to be in like so. And of course, the body, we've allowed the dashboard to cure. So we actually have to put the trunk in place, like so. They recommend putting a piece of tape. I do not want to risk putting tape. So let's just see where the attachment points are before we start gluing. There's an attachment point at the front and I believe at the back here. There doesn't seem to be any glue issues, or I should say paint issues on glue. So let's see if we can actually get it in place here. Well, look at that. There it is. All right. We have it in place. So we have to put styrene solvent right at the front here and at the rear here. So let's do that right now, being very, very careful. Righto, and making sure that it's on the top. Yes, and that'll allow the front trunk to open. Okay. Let's treat ourselves to a fresh Q-tip, shall we? Right. Styrene solvent. And very carefully, we're going to solve it right there. Done. And right here. There. Let's hope that patches through. All right. And not too much. Always cover the solvent because it actually evaporates. So the next parts that we will need will be the interior. There we go. And we've already measured our driver to the seat and so forth, so the driver should fit absolutely fine. We will need the rear engine cover. And I'm going to show you that the rear engine cover has its hinge point right there. You can see that. So that's how the rear hinge is going to operate. And we're going to test fit it, make sure it fits okay. And of course, we will need our body. Now, it's going to take a little bit of manipulating to get the interior in, but we're going to go in from the back here. Let's put our rear trunk in place. Let's see how it fits. It does fit rather nice, doesn't it? So let's hold that in place. And let's put the interior in as best we can. Okay. And there is the interior in the car. That might act as an aerodynamic device once we start driving the car around the track. Okay. That does fit in really, really well. Okay, so there we go. And we have now, because we've got the interior in, we can actually adhere these blocks to the interior. Which would be a very, very good way to hold the interior in. That will work very, very well. A very exact Q-tip. Make sure it's soaked. That is up. Right there. Let's hope that holds. We're going to hold it. All right. Just so it doesn't touch anything else. It closes lovely. Oh my goodness, look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. And it closes as it should. Yes. Right. Now we can do the rest of the gluing. Oh boy. Okay, let's get, again, treat ourselves to a new Q-tip. Styrene solvent. And patience. So, let us start with these blocks here. Again, patience. will definitely hold it. And tab right there. And tab right there. And we will do the sides as well. Okay. Very gently. It has a capillary action, which is great. Okay. And there is the interior in the body. Let us set this to the side and close our solvent before. There we go. We lose it all. There it is. All right. The last bit is the engine cradle, which is right here. But let's let this cure, and we'll get back to the engine cradle. All right, we've let the interior cure with the styrene solvent. It doesn't take as long as it would with, say, a normal cement. And now we're going to put the rear engine carrier into the underside of the rear of the car. So let's do that now. Q-tip. Go. I think we've got it. I do believe we've got it. Very, very nice indeed. There we go. So you can see we've got the styrene solvent on the sides and on the bottom there. And wow, we've done some very big steps here. Lovely. Now we just have to let it cure. Let it cure. Wonderful. So now we're ready to put the bumpers together, because there's a chrome piece that goes into the painted piece and then the bumpers on the car. What I did to prepare the gluing is I scraped the plating off the back of the chrome parts for each bumper, and also I very carefully removed the paint on the inside of the portion of the bumper where the chrome part is going to be inserted. Now, we used styrene solvent for most of the car. For this type of assembly, we're going to use old-fashioned model cement, plastic cement, and a toothpick. It'll take longer to cure, but it'll certainly give us the finish and the look that we want. So let's get started with that. All right, folks, we've got our toothpicks. As much as we used the Q-tips for our our styrene solvent, toothpicks come in really, really handy for plastic cement. So what I'm going to do here is take a piece of painter's tape. And this is done for a good reason. It hopefully will avoid any sort of glue mess. And I'm going to put the painter's tape here with a little lip on the edge of my workbench. And that is where I'm going to put my glue, right there, okay? Keep it as much out of harm's way as possible. And you see, you always get more than you think you need, which is fine. So let's start assembling. Let's do the front bumper first. Take a toothpick here. Take one. And we're just going to put some glue inside here. Go. And I'm going to use my, okay, just a little bit over here. Follow that through. And a little bit on the other side. We're not going to use very much, because the part isn't that big and it won't take much to adhere. And plus, once you get the part in, it'll move the glue around a little bit. So let's make sure we get it all in there. And we don't have to work as quickly either, which is another good sign. All right, glue. Let's get our chrome part. And carefully take our time and put it into, lovely. Oh, these parts fit so nicely together. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that gorgeous? Let's put this to the side, and we will do the same thing with our rear bumper. We are going to very, very carefully, that's a bit much, isn't it? Very carefully put it into the bumper. There we go. There's one side, and do the other side as well. Here we go. And done. All right, let's take our chrome insert and carefully slide it in as it should be, where it should be. And there we go. We have two Porsche bumpers. Isn't that lovely? Aren't they lovely? And there we have our two Porsche bumpers. Here's the rear bumper. And here is, I beg your pardon, and here is the front. The front and the rear bumpers. So while we've got all this glue out, let's put the bumpers on the cars. On the car, a body I should say. I'm getting so excited here. Shall we do the front first? Why not? Why not indeed? Why not indeed? All right. Get another blob of cement here. Nope. And we're going to put a dash of cement on each post, like so. One there, go, and one here, like so. All right, so we got enough. There we go. And the front bumper, and away we go. That's 1, 2. And there we go. Wow, that's starting to look like a Porsche, isn't it? My, my, my. All right. And now the rear bumper. You know, we've been using Nice fresh glue this far. Let's continue to. We don't need much now, we just need a little bit. There we go. And we will commence with putting the dab of glue there. Oh dear, I don't like that. And a dab of glue here. All right. And now here we go. And there is the rear bumper. Well, folks, that is looking pretty good. I hope you like that so far. We're going to let this cure before we do anything else, because we still have some things to do. We have to do the boot cover. We have to do the windscreen. Of course, the steering wheel with the driver, but let's just let this cure for now. We can adhere those parts using plastic cement, styrene solvent, or what I'm really leaning to use is something called microscale micro crystal clear. And I've used this on my Ferrari 275P on the glass. And it really does a very good job of adhering clear to a body, for example, and you cannot see the adhesive at all. The other good part about it is that if you have an off, if you're driving the car and it tumbles, then the glass will come off but not break, because it will just come off where the crystal clear is adhered to the body, won't take the paint off. So I think this is what I'm going to opt for. And I think I'm going to use it for the photo etch parts as well. So why don't we get to that straight away. So we have our microscale, we have our instructions, of course, which we're still using. And if you can see this portion, this is where we are on the instructions. So we have to put on the windscreen, boot cover, rear view mirror, side view mirror, and the two windshield wipers. The side view mirror, rear view mirror, windshield wipers are photo etch parts. The windshield is clear with a pre-chromed windshield frame, and the boot cover is plastic, and we've already painted and detailed it. So we're going to use the crystal clear for all of those parts. And here are the photo etch parts. I have to say they're absolutely gorgeous. The one thing I did not notice until I really got into this was that included in the photo etch parts are the car's badges. The car's badges are actually included in the photo etch parts. Really quite something to see. If you can see that, we have, it says 1600 Speedster. Oh my gosh, look at that. And Porsche. So not only do you get decals for the badging, you also get photo etch parts for the badging. Absolutely lovely. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that because I honestly did not notice that until I really got into the photo etch parts. Okay, so the first step will be to detach these parts. And can bend off. Okay. let's keep the photo etch parts over there. Now which side is shine? Oh, okay. I guess it doesn't really matter. So this bar goes into the windshield, and we're supposed to rotate the rear view mirror like so. So it's going to rotate it very carefully. There we go, very carefully. We don't want it to break. Very, very carefully. Slowly, slowly, slowly. And then bend it down. Slowly. Oops. Oh, I see that. Okay. There we go. Well, that looks pretty good. So I think we should put this in before we put the windshield in. Okay, let's angle that a wee bit. There we go. And that should go in like so. Okay. Right. See that? As you can see, it's the windshield frame is pre-chromed. It's lovely, just lovely. So let's do a quick test fit of just the windshield. Oh, there we go. There we go. Wow. It's lovely. You don't have to force it. It just sits on top, which is what it should do. And that will look lovely. So let's first make sure I don't have any on my hands, of course. Too much there, I think. And you can be quite generous with this adhesive. I'm going to do a whole bead here around where the windshield will go in. I'm hoping that the edge of the windshield will keep the rear view mirror in place. Let's see if that in fact will work. I'm using a lot, as you can tell. Put a lovely bead, as if you're putting in an actual windshield, actually. All right, let's see how this goes. Now I know it looks a wee bit messy, but soon see that. I'm hoping. Yes. There we have it. Just have to angle this a little more, I think. And hopefully, there we go. So we're going to let this dry like this, if you can see that. It's actually working. So far, so good. There we go. All right. And here's a windshield wiper. These we go. One windshield wiper. And let's do the other one. There we go. And those will dry to be crystal clear. Lovely. Now for the boot cover. And I think the way to attack the boot cover would be to put crystal clear around the perimeter of the body and then place, as you can see, it just falls beautifully into place without any real effort, really. It's quite nice. So let's do that then. Let's get the crystal clear. And we're going to go around the perimeter of the body here. Around here. Going to do a nice healthy bead. Very nice and healthy. And the reason we're using this adhesive is that if we do have a serious off, the parts will go flying, but they won't break. And that's really important. Now let's get it into place. And there we go. There we go. Lovely. Lovely. And our last photo etch part is the side view mirror. Lovely dollop of crystal clear on both sides. And it goes in this little hole right there. I'm going to try and do this with my hands. Let's see if I can here. Let's hope. Here we go. Side view mirror. Well, well, well. Whew. I really am pleased with the way that the car looks so far. Oh my goodness. There we go. So as you can see, we've got a Let It Cure, but we have the body assembled. All the parts that have to be on the body are on the body. I'm really, really pleased with this. Really pleased. I hope you're pleased too. Thank you so much for being with me this far on this build. Well, hopefully we'll get this on the track soon. Thank you so much for helping me with this build, for all the wonderful comments, for subscribing. I really, really do appreciate it. And so we'll see you next time for the next step on the Porsche 356A Speedster here at Scale Car Garage. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe.